Hello, and welcome back to Tales of Folklore and Coffee. My name is Madeline Hope, and I'm going to be your rewriter and hostess for this series. Today, we are going to be finishing up the Celtic creation myth, and we will find out how death came to humanity. If you are listening on YouTube, make sure to go back and listen to the first episode if you haven't. I'll make sure to put that in the description below. After the show, I'll be giving my notes on how I wrote a certain scene, which proved to be a fun and creative challenge, as well as I try and make it a tad more tangible for the audience. So without any more delay, let's finish the story of Celtic creation. As Dawn saw his beloved sitting beneath him, he stretched out his branches so that he may touch her again. Oh, how he loved to see her face, for it was so rosy and heavenly. The two spent long, happy years together before the first humans came to inhabit the earth. For from Dawn's branches grew berries that when they fell to the ground, humans sprung from them, and then grew at an alarming rate. Soon men found their wives, and they settled down, filling the earth with their offspring. Though there was a great problem, as Finn looked upon humanity as a whole. Since no one died, there was laziness abound. Fields were not tended to, as they wanted for nothing. Why work for food when it grows so abundantly? As a result, people began to rot from the inside like crop not kept. Finn gathered the people together, their bodies fat, and their eyes tired, and skin deathly pale. Ye who listen to me, great heed. For if you cannot find use for your life, then ye shall lose it. The people were perplexed, as they did not understand, for death did not exist, and they did not care nor know the purpose of life. There will come a day when you will not see the blue sky anymore, for some of you grow weary. Some of you have gray and silver hair coming to thine head. Your time is almost nigh, and the age of renewal is upon us. Finn came to Dawn after he addressed the people. "Greetings, beloved brother," he addressed Dawn. Dawn acknowledged him as the best as a tree could. "I have come to tell you that humanity has become restless and lazy among the years that they have been alive," he said, taking a seat at Dawn's roots as the wind swayed the branches back and forth and the sunlight waned. "And what do you propose we do for humanity?" Finn looked up into the strong branches of the oak, squinting as the sun setting behind Dawn. "Renewal. There are weary souls that walk this earth and wish to rest. New life must fill this place, for it may die under the slothful ways of our people. Give them death so that they may know life." Finn posed the idea. Dawn, on the opposite hand, did not take to it, for he loved his people who came from his branches. "I will not give them death, for they must learn to live life eternally," Dawn said firmly, standing by his decision. Finn grew angry, and to this he drew his sword. "You don't see the greater good. People must know what it is like to live so that they can appreciate what they have." Being utterly livid with Finn, Dawn came out of the tree. His spirit settled forward, armored in enchanted wood and a blade made from the tree's thorns. "You will not take from them what is rightfully theirs." Dawn began to pace around Finn, locking eyes with him as he took an offensive stance in front of his brother. Finn did the same. The two clashed and fought for a day, each swing and cut driving the two brothers apart. With one last thrust, Dawn had won the battle. Dawn pierced Finn's heart, and Finn fell at his brother's feet. His body was white, limp, and lifeless. Dawn knelt near his body and embraced him. "Why, oh why, must you have died in vain, my brother, my kin?" He held on to Finn's corpse, and Dawn's heart could not take it. So his heart burst. This killed Dawn for the last time. As the dead oak stood over the land, its roots became the underworld, and the people knew a mortal life. And so started the cycle of death in the world, thus making Dawn the god of the underworld, and Danu the goddess of heaven. This episode, I had to do a lot of filling in the gaps, as in the tale there isn't given much detail, as it just talks about how Finn said that humanity is lazy and the two brothers fought over giving humans death. The hardest part was writing a fight scene and how Dawn was going to do this, since Dawn is actually a tree. In the myth, Dawn actually does fight Finn as the tree, although for fantasy and writing purposes, I decided to make a personification of Dawn through his spirit and become kind of a warrior with wooden armor, which I really liked the concept of. I went further with it and gave him a thorn sword, which was pretty inconsequentially, I think, needed for his armor. And I really like the idea of it, and I kind of want a thorn sword now. Now, there isn't much mention of Danu in the rest of this story, since most of it is focused on Finn and Dawn, and most of her part was done in the first part of the Celtic creation myth. This part of the myth mostly talks about how Finn and Dawn kind of fight and are kind of men, I guess is the best way to explain this part of the myth. It's kind of sad how Danu and Dawn become complete opposites of each other since they were married at the beginning of time. How Dawn becomes the god of the underworld and Danu becomes the goddess of heaven. An interesting fact before we end off today's podcast is the holiday Samhain, or as we know it today as Halloween, was the celebration of Dawn and the underworld at the crossing, in which the Celtic people believed the changing of the seasons and the 31st day of October was where the linings of reality was the thinnest, letting the spirits from past loved ones and demons come into our world for only one night. Kind of gives you a new look at the holiday, doesn't it? Thank you for listening. This podcast is now available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. The music in this podcast was The Ballad of Robin Hood by Logan Epic Canto and Bloody Tears from the Castlevania soundtrack.